So the Dallas Cowboys offseason, if you even want to call it that, has been disappointing for a lot of Dallas Cowboys fans. As we drug our feet on getting deals done with CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott, let Tyron Smith and Jonathan Hankins walk out the building, and shown a lack of sense of urgency acquiring outside free agents. So a lot of Cowboys fans are questioning, what does that mean for our upcoming season? And today, Stephen Jones spoke about it. Let's address it. Yo, what's up, CFO gang? It's your boy Jay Tuck, real Cowboys fan, stand up. And if you're new, subscribe to the channel and turn on that notification bell so you do not miss out. So today, Executive Vice President Stephen Jones was on 105.3 The Fan, and he mentioned a few things that we're going to talk about. And the very first thing was the all-in approach. And so what Stephen Jones is saying when it comes to the all-in approach, that everyone has their own definition of what that means. But I've never not known us to be all in, nor have I known anyone we compete against not to be all in. It doesn't mean it's going to happen overnight, but when you're wanting to sign players like Dak Prescott, do you really want to sign Dak Prescott, or is that cap, right? Micah Parsons, CeeDee Lamb, then you have to hold money back if you want to have a realistic chance of signing those guys. Now, here is my concern with those comments, right? He mentioned other teams, right? And I don't want to mention that team, but we all know that we have a rival in the Philadelphia Eagles that's paid Jalen Hurts. They paid A.J. Brown. They just paid Devontae Smith. They acquired Saquon Barkley. They added Brian Huff. They're being aggressive in the draft, moving up and getting Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis. Like, they're doing the things that it takes to show the fan base that they're all in. But when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys, it's a lack of urgency, a lot of complacency, and I think that's why Dallas Cowboys fans have earned the right to be frustrated. So here's what I'm trying to explain, Cowboys Nation. We're smart. We're smart enough. I know you're smart because you're tuned into this channel and you get that notification bell, right? We know how the cap can be restructured. We know that if you sign Dak Prescott, it's going to open up money to sign CeeDee Lamb, to sign Micah Parsons in the future, and possibly Deron Bland, and the list goes on and on. But the Dallas Cowboys, for some reason, have dug their heels into the sand. And I feel like they're not budging, which scares me. Now, we all know that CeeDee Lamb currently, he's holding out a voluntary, I say that, voluntary camp. But also Micah Parsons isn't there, which is kind of traditional for him, doesn't show up for the voluntary stuff, but you do see Dak Prescott. So not only do the Joneses have to deal with getting the deal done for Dak Prescott or letting him walk, they also have to deal with CeeDee Lamb. Now, I know what the pushback is. Tuck, we can't pay everybody top dollar. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. But the problem with the Cowboys in this front office is they've shown no sense of urgency. Case in point, Devontae Smith, he's not up for a contract, but what did the Eagles do? They signed him early. They beat Jalen Waddle to the punch. They beat Justin Jefferson to the punch. They beat Jamar Chase to the punch. Versus the Cowboys have this mentality where they're going to sit back and wait to see, and this could cost the Cowboys when you play this game with CeeDee Lamb and numerous others, because yesterday's price is not today's price, and it's only going to continue to climb. But Stephen Jones just didn't stop there. He had some more comments in regards to our offensive line. And when it comes to our offensive line, he spoke about the absence of Tyron Smith. He said, on starting left tackle Tyron Smith and center Tyler Biadasz departing in free agency, we just think you have to continue to evolve as an offensive line. Certainly hate to lose a player like Tyron Smith, who's in my opinion going to be in the Hall of Fame. But at the same time, unfortunately, Tyron's had to miss a lot of games, and at some point you have to make tough decisions. Certainly you hate to lose Tyler at center in terms of what he's done, but at some point you got to make the tough decision that we can have him go to another team and we can replace him, hopefully, and have a center who is better. We like our young guys that we brought in over the years. So it sounds like when it comes to this offensive line, how things are going to stand this year, the Dallas Cowboys are going to go out there with a young offensive line. So it could be Tyler Smith at left tackle. It could be TJ Bassett left guard and Brock Hoffman at center. Then you have your veteran guy in Zach Martin and kind of your quote unquote veteran right tackle and Terrence Steele. And then you have some rookies to kind of fill the back role as an insurance policy. But it seems like, based on Stephen Jones's comments, that's going to be their idea and their philosophy going into the draft. So I know a lot of people, does that open up BPA? Possibly, but I still feel like if there's a quality offensive lineman available, it's going to be too hard for the Dallas Cowboys to pass up on the kind of talent that's going to be there. But speaking of draft talent, Stephen Jones also smoked on Mazy Smith, and I know a lot of people's been having questions about Mazy Smith, and this is where I got a little frustrated, Cowboys Nation. He said, Mazy Smith, he didn't play as much as we liked last season. I think it was a learning process with him, learning what Dan Quinn wanted out of a defensive lineman. We knew when we drafted him out of Michigan that he was asked to play the one technique a little different than Dan likes to see it played. I think the way Mike Zimmer is going to ask these guys to play is probably a little bit more in line with what Mazy did at Michigan, but we really feel good about Mazy Smith. And to me, that's concerning, y'all, because if your defensive coordinator is saying this player that you're having the arguments about doesn't fit my philosophy and he really hasn't played things my way, why did you go with the pick? Why didn't you find a player that actually fits Dan Quinn's philosophy? And if you remember, if you go back, the conversation was between Matthew Bergeron, the left tackle out of Syracuse who went to the Falcons, and Mazy Smith. And Dan Quinn wasn't beating on the table for Mazy Smith. It was old Will McClay. So to find out, all right, you knew that he didn't fit what Dan Quinn was trying to do. Dan Quinn was going to be your defensive coordinator. You would have even had Dan Quinn back even after the debacle that happened in Green Bay. It's a head-scratching moment, but hopefully Mazy Smith can take the leap, because we're definitely going to need Mazy next year because our defensive line is getting depleted. And from what I've been hearing in house, that Zimmer has big plans for Mazy. So that's it, man. Stephen Jones came out and spoke. Typically, it makes my ears bleed when Stephen Jones, has to go on the radio or has a press conference, but it's some nuggets, right? And I kind of understand what Stephen Jones was trying to say a little bit, but what he has to understand, Cowboys fans are a lot smarter, and we understand a lot of the stuff he was saying is cap, man. It's your boy J Tuck. Comment, like, subscribe. Follow me on all social media platforms at JTuck151. I want everyone to stay safe, stay blessed, stay encouraged, and we are 9 days away from the NFL draft. Let's get it. Peace.